What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we've got some Destiny 2 news. And so there are plenty of updates from Bungie in this one, responding to issues in the season so far, and laying out some future updates for Destiny 2. So they talk about future Vault updates, changes to text chat, and adjustments coming to orb generation, which has been changed this season. So we'll cover those, but they also acknowledge feedback around glaives, ability tune-in, and a few other items. But additionally, we'll talk about moments of triumph for the year, where there are some new rewards, objectives, and hidden loot for the season coming up. So there's plenty to talk about today, guys. As always, if you enjoy the video, a rating below really helps us out. But now, let's get into it. And so first up today, a few updates from Bungie. And firstly, the Destiny 2 team point out that they deployed a fix for a bug allowing players to vault from an activity without the proper UI or full fireteam support. But they say, however, based on the positive reception for this bug, they're planning on reverting this week's fix in a January update, and they're going to let the bug remain a feature in its currently janky implementation so that players can retain the current level of vault access and give feedback on the experience to inform the full polished version that they're planning to build in the future. And the goal is to allow the full fire team to be able to access the vault from anywhere in the game in an update after the final shape. And so essentially in the game, while the vault is only supposed to be accessible from orbit, it can actually be pulled up by a fireteam leader during an activity. And so perhaps this was a feature that Bungie were working on for the future, but has technically been accessible in the game early. And so as Bungie say, they are going to allow this functionality to continue to be available, and the goal is that ultimately, the vault will be accessible from anywhere in the game at some point after the final shape. So while I know a lot of players use things like Destiny Item Manager, no doubt there will still be a subset of players that will benefit from having vault access anywhere in the game, and of course, at the very least, even when there are updates or server maintenance that stops the third-party tools from being accessible, it'll certainly be useful to not have to travel to the tower or the helm, or even to orbit in order to access the vault moving forward. So give us your thoughts about that. But a couple of other updates include that Bungie Help said they've resolved an issue where the Dragon's Bite artifact perk could be activated in the Crucible, as some players were able to do that early on in the weekend. So that's no longer a thing. And they've also said they're investigating an issue where D2 can crash when players return to orbit from the Warlord's Ruin dungeon. Plus, they're additionally looking into a problem where some dungeon triumphs are dropping the wrong rewards. So we should get further updates on those soon. Plus, there's a bug where players can get soft-locked after wiping in the first section of the PsyOps battleground on the Cosmodrome. So the Nightfall was changed to the Moon battleground, and Bungie are planning to get a fix in for the Cosmodrome version for a future week. Additionally, onto more of the content from this week. Of course, we have the return of Iron Banner, but players have noticed that once we purchase a Year 1 ornament from Saladin, it actually requires us to spend Synthweave in order to unlock the ornament, and so kind of an unnecessary additional step there. The assumption is that it's intentional, but it's certainly a pretty weird move, so something to keep an eye on right there. Perhaps Bungie will give us an update or a justification for that, and if we get any updates, I'll keep you posted, but share your thoughts on that down below. And up next, Bungie Help said that D2's text chat filters have been updated with the release this week. And it's the first step in a multi-phase rollout, allowing players to toggle allow profanity in settings. And they say some words may still be overridden, but this is being investigated, and players using non-supported languages may see words being filtered that shouldn't be. But in short, they're updating those text filters, and there will be more updates to come down the road. But more sandbox related, the Destiny 2 team said, we've been monitoring feedback around orb creation cooldowns, and we have a change going out with the next update currently targeted for next week. And equipping multiple copies of the armor mods heavy-handed, firepower, or Reaper will now decrease their orb creation cooldown. And here's how stacking the mods will affect orb creation cooldowns after the update. So one copy will be a 10-second cooldown, with 2 copies being 5 seconds and 3 copies being 1 second. And so they're at least going to allow us to create more orbs more quickly, but there still is a lot of feedback about the energy costs for slotting those mods. And those aren't likely to be adjusted in next week's update, but perhaps there's some feedback that Bungie can utilize for the future. For now though, it's positive that we are seeing some kind of an update to those, and give us your thoughts in the comment section. There'd also been some discussion about the Edge of Action glaive, and that's the Titan exotic, and players have pointed out that the bubble's HP has gone from 8,000 to 2,500, with the PvE damage reduction stat being reduced as well. And so some players are arguing that the weapon has actually been nerfed. So the Destiny 2 team said, prior to Season of the Wish, the glaive bubble actually didn't have the same resilience-based damage reduction that Ward of Dawn has, and the only change that's been made to survivability was the reduction in health. But they will pass along feedback to the rest of the team on looking into increasing the survivability of the Edge of Action bubble in PvE, and it wasn't the goal to make the glaive bubble just as effective as Ward of Dawn, given how much more often it's available compared to the super version, but they say we do believe it could have more survivability in endgame PvE content. So possibly another future update to the Edge of Action glaive right there. Let us know any experiences you've had with it, and I'll keep you posted if we get any further news from Bungie. Up next though, something briefly worth mentioning right here, which is interesting, but we can see the requirements for Moments of Triumph 2023 in the game, and I believe this is due to go live in February next year, but we can see for the 2023 title, players will need to complete 26 of the 30 feats in order to claim the unique rewards in the title itself. And so looking at some of the requirements, firstly, players will be able to unlock the Go Shell for Moments of Triumph by claiming 14 of the Triumphs, and this is the Laurel Shell that we can see on screen right there. But additionally, there'll be a Sparrow reward as well, which can be obtained when completing 21 of the Triumphs for the year. So a couple of additional drops right there associated with Moments of Triumph. Plus there'll be a classified reward for completing a run of each of the Year 6 raids and dungeons. But then we can see other requirements include completing all of the Lightfall missions on Legendary difficulty, as well as completing all of the heroic public events on Neomuna. There's another to complete all of the Lost Sectors on Neomuna, and to collect the action figures, plus one that recognizes us restoring all of the damaged memorials in the Hall of Heroes on Neomuna. Then as we can see, there's one to claim all of the rank rewards from Nimbus, to complete any version of Rood of Nightmares, as well as the Crota's End raid, and then a separate triumph for the Ghosts of the Deep dungeon, and presumably Warlord's Ruin will be counted there as well. And then we've got things like completing all of the season quests, various different seasonal ones, things like completing encounters at different depths inside of deep dives, catching the fish from Season of the Deep, and various other triumphs from seasonal content. So on the most part, it recognises stuff that we will have already done throughout the course of this year, but Moments of Triumph itself will also serve as a sort of catch-up to point out some of the key bits of content for the year that players may want to complete before the final shape. And so just keep in mind that Moments of Triumph will kick off in the new year, but otherwise, to touch on some hidden rewards for Season of the Wish, as always we get a bunch of additional cosmetic drops that come from completing various triumphs and secrets in the season. And firstly, there is the Wormguard Shell, and this ghost can be earned by collecting all of the sort of cat statues that we'll be able to find throughout the course of Season of the Wish. And then there are some others, probably one of these will be for the season finale. And firstly, there is the Unforeseen Consequences exotic ship. Actually a pretty cool one, as you can see right there. And this will be dropped by the Holoprojector. Plus there's the exotic Sparrow, the Gloaming Journeyer. That has a pretty similar theme. And of course these match the sort of base armor for the season as well. And this one will drop via Rivern. Once again, one of them will probably be during the season finale, and another will be for a hidden triumph or objective during the season. So I thought it might be interesting to take a quick look at some additional drops we'll earn during season 23. But for now guys, that's what we have to speak about in the video today. So as always, I hope you've enjoyed this one, and if you have, a rating below very much helps us out on the channel. But also be sure to get subscribed and I'll keep you posted with more Destiny 2 content. Otherwise though, I appreciate you tuning in as always. Give us your thoughts on any of the stuff we've covered down in the comment section. But for now, whatever you get up to, I hope you guys have an awesome day.